Alan, there's somebody wandering around this house of a night. And I laughed that off. I said, that's rubbish. The doors are locked, and I'm here, you've got nothing to worry about. Well, one dark, cold, wintry, stormy night in the early hours of the morning, I had a totally and complete life-changing experience. Glenys and I were in bed in the early hours of the morning. I don't know what time it was, probably 2 or 3 o'clock at a guess. I suddenly woke up in pitch black, couldn't see a thing, and somebody had their hands around my throat and were choking me, throttling me. And instantly, at that same moment, I felt like barbed wire whirl and swirl around my entire body. And I laid in that bed for the rest of the night, absolutely petrified and terrified, because I was paralysed. I was held so tightly and I couldn't move. In the morning, I got out of bed and I went to work. I was a panel beater for a large shop at that time, and I worked with 6 or 7 other men. And when I walked into the panel shop that morning, a couple of the guys said to me, "Hey Scotty, you all right? You're white." And I said, "Oh yeah mate, been on the grog all night. Can't help it." The truth is, how could I ever share that with anyone? That very night I got possessed by an evil spirit. And from that time on, our marriage was doomed, and my morals and my mind, my ethics, and everything that was near and dear to me declined rapidly, and the marriage was being destroyed, as well as I was destroying myself. One of the policemen left the room and came back with a legal document, and he said, "Read this." And it was a court order stating that I would not be going near my wife and family, or children, or harass, or threaten, or abuse them, or go near them in any way. And I had to pay costs and upkeep for the future, and all that was written in this document. And I said to the policeman, "Gee, I didn't think she'd go this far. I mean, we slept in the same bed, got out together this morning. How could this happen?" He said, "Well, I don't know," he said, "but if you go out there to see your wife," he said, "we're going to put you in jail." And I knew then that I had no hope, no future. The only way out for me was suicide. I sat up all night, and in my crazed mind, I pictured myself going out home in the morning and shooting the 4 children. I saw the heads explode off a couple of them, and the blood and the bone dripping down the walls. And I knew I'd have to shoot at least 1 or 2 on the run, because they'd hear the first shots and the screams and everything else. And I decided that the last one to go would be Glenys, and I decided that I would shoot her legs off first before I finished her off, because I'd make her pay and suffer for what she'd done to me. And so all night I went over and over the killing, over and over, until I was quite certain that I could carry it out. And I came out home to carry out that dreadful deed. And as I drove up the pathway, the 2 cats and the dog were together, jammed together, and their heads followed me, and I thought, it's strange with animals, I thought they know something. So I stepped inside where the boy's bedroom was, and I got a terrible shock. It was like being on the moon. There was no furniture, no kid's bed, no dirty socks and a pair of shoes laying there on the floor or anything. The whole room was bare. The house was empty. They'd fled, of course, which saved their lives. And Saturday afternoon, car pulled up, and I peeked through the window, pulled the curtain back, and I saw it was a dear lady friend. And I couldn't go out and face her and tell her what was going on, and I just felt like I was an animal caged. And I felt myself sink inside, and my shoulders slump. And I thought, oh God, help me. And my head flew up, and I actually saw like a silver star or a dart go straight up in the air above me. Sunday night I had a dream. It was more than a dream. It was so clear, it was so precise, that in this dream I saw a stage, a huge stage, and on this stage was this huge, ugly, foul, frightening man, throwing his arms up in the air, screaming and threatening. And I looked out over the stage, and I saw that all the seats were empty. There was no one there. And I woke up, and I knew immediately that that beast of a man it was me. I walked outside the back door. It was a bright, sunny morning, thinking about where am I going to go to, which state and which town. This is the scene that happened back then in 1976. As I came out the back door, and at that time there was nothing in front of me, just this bare hill, and I walked over towards the edge here, and suddenly I was hit in my stomach, and I buckled over, and I was buckled over like this, and I went to come up, and I couldn't, and I could feel like a tremendous magnet pulling me down. And I thought, what's going on? And I came out of my body and went straight down where that black strip is there. That's about how wide the ground, perhaps another 3 inches wider, and about that width. And I went straight down through the earth at this fantastic speed, much, much faster than a bullet. And I went down into the middle of the earth. It opened up into an enormous cavity, which was hell. And on the way down, I absolutely knew that I was dead. And it all came back to me, because I used to claim when you were dead, you were snuffed out, you were blotted out, you didn't exist anymore, and Jesus Christ was dead, and I was a blasphemer of his holy name. And so I went down at this fantastic speed, down, 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 and I came to the centre of the earth, and it opened up into an enormous, massive cavity. I couldn't see the end of it. There's no light down there. It's a bluey grey mist. And I looked right down, and on the bottom of this massive cavity was a dirty, yellowy, old army khaki coloured lake. And as I sunk down into it, the last thoughts I had were, I'm gone forever. And I looked up into the void, and I saw something far worse than hell where I was. In the void above me was a small black cloud, about 18 inches round. And a voice spoke to me, very audible, very harsh and commanding. This is the wrath of God, and I'm very angry with you. And God flung me up out of that lake, and I came straight up through the earth the same way as I had come down at this massive speed.